Hi everyone, the small engine mechanic here. Today, we are going to be diagnosing a hard to start issue on a Troy Bilt riding mower. So, let's get started. This model has the Kohler 7000 series engine, which means the valves are adjustable on this model. So let's remove the hood to get better access. The owner has already replaced a couple parts to try to repair the issue. Air filter is new as well as the starter and battery. So we're going to check the oil before we try to start it. There's one indication of an issue. The sound of it trying to start sounds like a compression issue, which could be the valves needing adjusting. So let's look into that. We're going to remove the spark plug. This one is brand new. Can't tell what's going on inside the engine yet. So, let's check the other side. Same thing. Okay, no problem. We'll do a cylinder compression test for our first part. This is a quick and effective test. Just need to thread in the adapter hose and connect it to the gauge. This engine cylinder should be around 160 psi. The number 1 cylinder only reads 120 psi. That's 75% of the compression. Not good. So we'll check the other side. (150 psi), that's 93.75% of 160 psi. That's acceptable. Raw should be no more than 15% difference between the cylinders. We have 20%, there's an issue here. So, we're going to remove the valve cover and check the clearances. This Kohler model uses sealant instead of gaskets for the valve covers. To check and or set the valve clearances, we will need RO rotate the cylinder to top dead center. Simply rotate the engine in the direction of the engine starting direction until the intake valve compresses in, and then decompress. Once the intake is back, insert a small extension into the spark plug hole and continue to rotate the engine until the extension stops moving outward. Both rockers should be loose now. Now the cylinder is at top dead center. The valve clearance is 5 thousandths on the intake and 6 on the exhaust. Using a feeler gauge, slide it between the valve and the rocker arm. There should be some resistance. If too tight or too loose, they must be adjusted. Both of these are too loose, so let's fix that. You will need a half-wrench feeler gauges and T20 Torx bit. Using a T20 Torx bit, loosen the center set screw, and with the 1/2 wrench slowly turn the outer nut while moving the gauge. Once resistance is felt, hold the wrench and tighten the set screw. It might take a couple tries to get it down. The feeler gauge should be able to move, but with some resistance felt. Once done, do the same with the exhaust valve. Now that we know the valves are set, we're going to use another quick and very effective tool, the cylinder leak down tester. This will help locate where there are leaks. Just like the compression tester, you thread the hose in the spark plug hole, but do not connect it to the gauge yet. The gauge is pressurized using compressed air. Connect an air hose to the gauge and adjust the regulator to a minimum of 50 psi. Then connect the engine hose adapter to the manifold. You can instantly see a major pressure drop across the gauges. This cylinder has a major leak. Now using our most high-tech sound locating device. Yep, our ears. We just searched for the sound, and it didn't take long. Sounds like a head gasket, but we're going to verify it. So we can disconnect the tester. And we're going to pull the blower housing and heat shield off to make sure. So after loosening the 6 bolts and removing the 2 screws holding the fuel pump, we can now remove the blower housing. For the heat shield, there are just 4 bolts that hold it on. 2 on the front, 1 on the bottom, and 1 on the top. Now that we can see the entire head, let's reconnect the leak down tester. Set the feed gauge at 50 psi and yep, it's a head gasket. going to make sure the other side is good too. So I'm going to remove the valve cover. Since you already saw this on the other side, I'll speed through it. Yep, these are loose too. Don't worry, I won't make you watch this again. So, now the valves are set, let's do a leak down test. Adjusting the gauge to 50 psi. Connecting the hose in. Only a 2 psi drop. That's perfect. So, the Diagnosis is the number 1 cylinder head gasket is blown and needs replacing. So now it will be up to the owner